Pretty clouds. Ooh, I like that truck.
Capitalism made America great.
Hey, don't draw on the screen.
Innovation, hard work. The building blocks of the American dream.
Nice flag.
But in the wrong hands, some of those dreams can turn into nightmares.
Ooh, scary.
Wall Street's corporate raiders made billions of dollars.
Private equity leaders getting rich at the expense of American workers.
No smoking, please.
Their greed was only matched by their willingness to do anything to make millions in profits.
1, 2,
Nothing spared,
300, 400,
nothing
500.
mattered but greed. This film is about one such raider and his firm. Mitt Romney,
not I, will be leading these fools into a massacre.
His mission? To reap massive rewards for himself and his investors.
Mitt Romney, them guys, they don't care who I am.
I don't care who you are.
He's for small businesses. No, he isn't. He's not.
You're going to be on the hit list, you know that.
Romney took foreign seed money from Latin America and began a pattern exploiting dozens of American businesses.
They fire people, they cut benefits,
I like
they sell assets.
People.
But okay, let's look deeper.
Okay.
Let's look deeper in his life.
Yeah, deeper.
What did he do when he was the CEO
Yeah, was he late?
Of this whole
Did he show up late?
This film will highlight just 4 of Romney's many targets, 4 businesses, and the thousands of employees who work there.
And that hurt so bad to leave my
Why?
home.
You couldn't get out the door?
Because of one man that's got 15 homes.
He's tearing down his 3,000 square foot house to build an 11,000 square foot house.
Who can live
I
in 3,000 feet?
feel that is the man that destroyed us.
Yeah.
I am intimately familiar with how our economy works.
I am the emperor.
Everything corporations earn ultimately goes to people. So, where do you think it goes? Whose pockets? Whose pockets?
Your
A story
pockets.
of greed, playing the system for a quick buck. A group of corporate raiders led by Mitt Romney. More ruthless than Wall Street. For tens of thousands of Americans, the suffering began when Mitt Romney came to
The
town.
suffering continues all through this video.
The company was Bain Capital. Its CEO and president, a privileged son of a wealthy businessman and politician, Mitt
Hey,
Romney.
Mitt.
He had a Harvard pedigree, and he was on a
Fancy
tear,
boy.
making spectacular returns. Stripping American businesses of assets, selling everything to the highest bidder, and often killing jobs for big financial rewards. One stop on Mitt Romney's quest, Marianna, Florida.
I like Florida. Me too.
For more than 50 years, the Unimac Corporation had steadily built an American workforce, becoming the largest commercial laundry equipment manufacturer in North America.
It was pretty much a family-ran organization.
Everybody knew everybody, and they cared about their employees. Everybody was in it for the quality.
You knew everybody?
Trying to build a good product, because, I mean, it's part of your name was on it.
They met with everybody, pulled everybody together, and told us we were being sold to Raytheon, and which in turn turned out to be Bain.
Back at his Massachusetts headquarters, Romney had found his target. Bain took control of Unimac.
One of the first things that they did,
the quality,
when they started, when we became part of the corporation, was to start cheapening the product.
So you'd have to hurry faster through your work.
Yeah, I got off sooner. All right.
The quality was going down. It got to the point where we would run out of parts trying to push so many out that sometimes we'd send a machine out without a part on it. Did you just say you
sent something out that wasn't working?
You know, I just
no wonder the company went out of business. How come there's no
left us alone back in the early 90s and would be making a lot of washing machines.
I bet you it was that damn Mitt Romney.
If they would have just left us alone as Unimac,
part hoarder.
I think Unimac would still be running right now.
I don't know.
Unimac.
Sounds like you were sending out defective dryers. Plus you couldn't order parts.
probably more than 500 employees by now.
According to New York Magazine, Romney's Bain colleagues had a high disdain for American businesses and their workers, describing them as sloppy.
Yeah, I think
lazy.
plus what about ordering
One of the
parts?
very first orders of
Like
business
they
for
didn't say anything
Romney's
about
Bain
that.
team slashed paychecks while keeping the workers in the dark.
We were worried that we weren't going to have a job.
By that time, we'd already had a 3-year-old.
Well, maybe that 3-year-old could order the parts.
I stressed that all the time because I never knew if I was going to have a job when I came in the next day. And we had insurance there. We both worked there. So when we got, if we was let go, we both was let go at the same time. Neither one of us had a job.
There are other jobs,
And then at the very end, they decided to shut the doors.
What about the parts?
I was scared, very scared.
Scared that you didn't have enough parts?
Shortly after that, in December of 2007, my daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. It was real scary, because that was one of the things we worried about.
I hope the doctors have enough parts.
Dropping our insurance and going out on our own and, not having insurance with a job. It was really scary. So,
Romney and Bain upended the company and gutted the workforce. Now they were ready to
they can make a hockey arena.
They did sell us. We were sold to
a teachers union out of Canada.
Cool.
What does teachers know about?
Well, they probably know that they can buy parts.
Romney and Bain's sale to the Canadians netted a whopping 230% profit for Romney and his investors. The deal left behind a trail of wreckage.
If only we would have had those parts.
I'm convinced that if you want to create jobs, it helps to have had a job. And I've had jobs.
What about a job as a parts buyer?
To help America.
They never could get enough. No matter how much they already had, they just could never get enough money.
For an economy to thrive, there are a lot of people who will suffer as a result of that.
For Tracy and Tommy Jones, their brush with Mitt Romney and Bain nearly tore their family apart.
You sure? Just because of some parts?
We did. We lost our insurance. We didn't have any income, and it was very stressful, and it took a strain on our marriage.
Your whole lifestyle changed because you're making this much, now you're making this much. And
your bills are
saying life's tough?
Your income's still down here. It's very bad. It's very stressful.
Romney and Bain's cash rampage would ultimately slash jobs in nearly every state in the country, like popular children's toy seller KB Toys.
Where are you gonna find all the hottest toys on the planet?
No!
On a mountain?
No!
Hot we got at KB Toys.
Romney and Bain bought the 80-year-old company in 2000, loaded KB Toys with millions in debt, then used the money to repurchase Bain's stock. The debt was too staggering.
Wouldn't be this bad commercial.
By 2004, 365 stores had closed.
All the latest toys to choose from. Hot we got at KB.
The company is shutting down all of its stores.
The Attorney General is advising people to cash in those cards.
Why is this kid watching the news?
As we told you just yesterday, the toy chain has filed for bankruptcy.
Bad parents.
Romney called it creative destruction.
Creative destruction does enhance productivity. For an economy to thrive, and as ours does, there are a lot of people who will suffer as a result.
I'm still suffering.
Romney and other top executives take $120 million. By 2009, the debt accumulated under Romney was too great. KB Toys was no more.
Make a profit. That's the name of the game, right?
Mitt Romney and Bain saw a 900% return on their investment.
Eat the man.
Romney and Bain's profits, at the expense of 15,000 jobs, was described by the Boston Herald as disgusting.
Mitt Romney's campaign boasts of the jobs the Republican presidential candidate created while running private equity firm Bain Capital. What it doesn't talk about is Romney's experience eliminating jobs.
Quite good at that.
Under Romney, Bain was making billions.
Hey, let go of my foot.
At the same time, contributing to the greatest
I thought TSA
American
was
job
bad.
loss since World War II. It was called the Bain Way, Romney's Bain Capital almost always managing to turn the misfortunes of others into their own enormous financial gains. A striking example of this was a technology company Bain financed, with facilities in Texas, Colorado,
I could have used a little more cowbell.
The company was called DDI. With help from friends at Wall Street's Lehman Brothers, Bain was set to offer an initial public offering of stock in DDI.
Hey, stop
Lehman
smoking,
Brothers
please.
would issue a buy rating, and Romney and Bain would watch investors swarm.
Hey, let's occupy
A
that
signature
place.
of Romney's Bain Way strategy. Employees were quickly fired in order to pump up profits.
You're fired!
Helped by a favorable rating from Bain's Wall Street friends, DDI's 12 million share IPO raised a quick $170 million. People were buying into the promise that DDI was headed to become a billion-dollar company. Then, instead of sticking with the stock,
that was a nice bonus.
I would too. Those employees
just
were
after
terrible.
6 months, Bain sold shares, making $39 million. Then they dumped the rest, just 4 months later, collecting $54 million more. All the while, the Wall Street banks they hired gave cover, issuing glowing reports. DDI ended up losing $400 million. A little over 2 years later, the stock was nearly worthless. The result? DDI filed for bankruptcy. 2,100 jobs were lost. Average investors without insider connections were left with huge losses. Romney denies being involved with the controversial deal, claiming to have left Bain to lead the 2002 Olympic Organizing Committee.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Mitt Romney, et je suis président.
But SEC filings prove otherwise.
Hey,
during the
why
DDI
is he
deal,
speaking
Romney
French?
was listed as a member of the management committee of Bain
Is
Capital,
he a Frenchie?
with control of over 1.3 million shares of DDI Corporation.
Bonjour.
Sure enough, the probe uncovered evidence that Lehman Brothers continued to encourage investors to buy DDI stock, even though they had misgivings themselves.
Is that why they call the Big Mac the
Romney's
La
Bain
Big
Way
Mac?
model played out over and over.
La Royale.
Employees, creditors, and investors were hurt. But not Bain. Even though time and time again thousands of jobs were lost,
You sit on the computer all day,
investors and
play.
creditors
You know
without
nothing of
hundreds
hard life.
millions. Romney and Bain made piles of money.